Hey, what's up guys, Totallydubbed here, and today I'm doing a video review on the Creative Sound Blaster E3. First of all, I'd like to thank Creative for actually reaching out and sending me the E3 for a review. It's a huge honor for them to do so because I've known Creative for a long time in the PC industry. Now in the package you get a manual, well, few manuals shall I say. This one is particularly useful because it shows you different ways you can connect up your E3, which I'll get onto in this review, but it's great to have that. You also get a USB OTG adapter, which I'll get to in just a second. You get a 3.5mm, 3.5mm wire, which is quite thin, so bear that in mind for longevity. Then you've got a pretty thick wire in comparison for a micro USB to USB wire, and then you've got the Sound Blaster E3 itself. The only thing missing in the packaging was a pouch of some sort. It would have been great for on-the-go usage, but it's not that much of a big deal for me. Now, the Sound Blaster E3, first of all, it's design and build. And I think it's really well built. It's really nice. Its finish is really cool, and it looks very nice in terms of if its overall presentation. Let's put it that way. I think it looks quite good. Even if you put it on your belt or something like that, people might actually think it's a pager. Its size is actually very small as well in comparison to a Galaxy S3, which is in my hand right now. You can see its size is really small. That said, you can see its thickness is obviously much thicker than a Galaxy S3. Now, its features that it got are really rich. Now, first of all, I'm just going to do a little product overview because I think it's very useful in terms of understanding the product as well. So you got a plus and minus for the volume. You got previous and next for skipping through your music, for example. You got your line in. You've got USB micro USB connection for charging the device. You've got a on button which also activates the Bluetooth. You've got a play and pause button and a answer and hang up button. And your little light over here which lights up indicating what's going on. So blue is for Bluetooth, and then you've got red when it's charging. So yeah, different little lights which come on to notify what's going on. Then you've got a two headphone outputs, which is brilliant in terms of wanting to share music. And one of them doubles up as a microphone as well if you want to plug in a headset. Then you've got a microphone over here. Yes, an actual microphone, which is useful for plugging into straight to your computer, for example, and using this as a recording device. In other words, you can use this as a dedicated microphone. And then finally, you've got a shirt clip or belt clip, as I like to say, because it's quite such a big device. I wouldn't really expect this on a shirt. I'd expect it on a belt or like around your waistline. I should also mention this has got Bluetooth. It's got Bluetooth aptX, which is brilliant for CD quality Bluetooth over CD quality over Bluetooth with your given device, and it also has NFC functionalities. In order to connect, you can just NFC it, and it connects straight away via Bluetooth. So really good functionalities and very feature rich. So now let's just talk about the sound quality because that's what's really important about this thing. So first of all, I'd like to mention quick mention on the microphone that's inbuilt on the E3. I think it was very good. I was using it on my PC via USB, and it did a really good job in picking up a clear sound and an accurate sound, and on top of that, a very decent sound in terms of how far I could speak from it. It was very good in picking that up, so very much impressed with that. But obviously that's not what you're going to be buying it for. Well, you might be, but I don't think it'll be your main function. But it'll be actually the audio quality in terms of an amplifier or sound card or USB DAC or Bluetooth aptX device. I think the sound quality was decent but not phenomenal. The reason I say that is because of its price tag of being £100. £100 you can get dedicated amplifiers which will be quite sensational for their price. But in this respect, the sound quality as an amplifier or a USB DAC reminded me of a say £45 to £50 sound card, a portable amp, say for example the FIO E11 or something like that. The functionalities that it has are amazing, but its audio quality, I would say one of the things that was lacking was its soundstage. So when I was listening to this with my Denon D2000s, I felt that the soundstage was a little bit lacking. It felt kind of a bit suppressed when connected via the E3. However, with that said, when I was trying to listen out to how it sounds in terms of, is it flat, is it neutral sounding, or is it you know, overinflating one or the other, it actually didn't really change the source that much. It really sounded pretty flat. If anything, there was a little dip in the mids, I would say, so a little V-shaped sound. I'm trying to do that with my hand, but it's quite hard to do. So it's, if anything, it's a slight V-shape, a slight dip in the mids, but the highs and lows, in my opinion, weren't really rolled off at all, or cut off. The bass really extended quite well, and the highs were actually decent. But as I said, it's not a device I would really suggest in terms of its soundstage. Therefore, due to its soundstage, it didn't really feel like an audiophile grade device, which is a little bit of a shame because, you know, I'm used to listening to good audio. But with that said, it's something I actually use on a daily basis. I was very much impressed by it in terms of its connectivity device. That I was actually, well, the soundstage is not that amazing, but actually I don't mind using it on a daily basis, and I can live with it. So bear that in mind if you're going to be buying that. If you want you know, excellent soundstage and good separation, everything like that, you're probably not going to find this in the E3. In terms of its driving ability, as you see, the D2000s, it had no problems with that, and it had no problem with the Audiophonic PFE232s, which are my daily driver for earphones, and it had no problem with those, but those are not really hard to drive in the first place. With something with a Sennheiser HD800, on the other hand, it would be harder to drive. I'm only saying this because I've demoed the HD800 and I know how hard they're to drive with 600 ohms headphones. They're a little bit of a pain. For something like this, I think it's going to have a trouble. As I said, not a problem with my earphones or headphones even, but with something which is 600 ohms, I think you're going to have some serious trouble. With that said, are you going to be really realistically using a HD800 with this? No. So I don't know if people should really see that as a negative, simply because I don't think that's intended for that type of market. I think this is intended for people which want to go on the go and have a decent audio experience. And in that respect, I think my earphones kind of justify that. They were perfectly driven, and more than enough sound could be pumped through them without distorting of any sort. So in that respect, do bear that in mind. Now, other than the sound quality, I quite like the functionalities, and the functionalities of this were really impressive. The fact that I can actually connect via OTG, so for example, if I connect this over here, then plug in a USB to this, and then plug this to my phone, I could actually, sorry for that, I could actually use it like this. So it was quite interesting. It also would charge my device as well. You'll be able to see, I'm not going to press any buttons, it just starts charging my device. And then I play some music and it's going to be coming straight through this. If I connect up my Denon D2000, you'll be able to hear some music come out in just a second. And as you can hear, it's there. So yeah, it's very interesting in terms of the sound that comes out of it. It's very loud, and the fact that it has this functionalities of going, you know, via OTG is very interesting. On top of that, as I said, the Bluetooth as well was very impressive. The aptX quality was great because you weren't losing any sort of quality over Bluetooth, which made it great for me when I was using it on the go, because I didn't feel like I was losing any sort of sound quality or recording quality due to it. On top of that, you can use this as a USB DAC as well. You know, for example, plugging this straight into your PC, that can be used as a USB DAC, and that was also impressive. So its functionalities of the E3 are very expansive. There's quite a lot of different ways you can connect to it, and different ways you can use it. On that mention of connectivity, I should mention battery life. The battery life was not that great, and I think that's one of its downfalls, apart from its soundstage and separation in the sound quality section, is the fact of its battery life wasn't that amazing. With that said, I was using it over Bluetooth. I was having it pretty cranked up quite a majority of the time, because I like having this cranked up and this lower in terms of source. I don't know why, but just I preferred having that because I had more control over the volume, and this meant that it did run out in around 7 hours, 7-8 hours, give or take, of continuous playback, which isn't bad for its size. It's actually very good for its size, but in terms of a actual portable solution that you might be using on the go, say for example on your long haul 11-hour flight or something like that, then you can't really rely on this providing that, you know, solid 11 hours or whatever like that you're going to be using it on. Again, I used it via Bluetooth, so therefore you might have more luck using it via line in. It will probably, well, not probably, it will last longer, and it did last longer for me, but I didn't really test it as such, because I used it mainly as a Bluetooth, because I think that's one of the major features that it has. So anyway, it was decent in terms of that battery life, but you should bear that in mind. You know, use with moderation, bear in mind its size as well. So overall, I think the E3 is a great device. I think its connectivity's options are amazing. The actual functionalities it has over here are actually sensational, and its physical size is so good. For what it can output is absolutely amazing. It kind of reminds me of the Digizoid Z02, of a small factor amp, but producing a large amount of output, and quite cleanly as well. So very, very interesting in that respect. But with that said, it's not an audiophile grade device. It's not something I would really say, you know, I could drive a HD 800 easily with it. Neither is it something I would say, oh yeah, open back headphone would really benefit from it, or audiophile grade, you know, closed back headphone. You might notice, oh, my sound stage is being a little bit suppressed. Can I live with that? Yes or no? And then its price is £100, which can be a little bit expensive when it comes to amps. So do bear that all in mind. But with that said, it's definitely something I would still recommend. I used it on a daily basis. I absolutely loved it. I ended up using it more than my Digizoid Z02, which is very surprising for me. And I really love the fact that I was using it via Bluetooth and controlling my music and doing everything I wanted in my hand rather than pulling out my phone. So I really like that functionality, and people buying this should have that in mind. So anyway, guys, I've rambled on more than I should have, but hopefully this video has been useful in terms of giving you an honest opinion and thoughts on the E3. And if it has been useful to you, make sure you give it a nice healthy thumbs up. Definitely do subscribe if you want to see more. Comment, let me know what you think about the video, what you think about the E3. And definitely favorite and share this video, as it always helps, you know, for friends and family which might be looking at this. It'll be useful to know, for them to know if you think that it's the case. So yeah, anyway guys, I've been Totally Dubbed. This has been the creative E3, Sound Blaster E3 should I say. And yeah, hopefully you've enjoyed it. Take care guys, bye bye.